What if everything you've ever called spiritual awakening was the greatest lie ever sold to your soul? What if every mantra, every ascension, every light you chased was designed to keep you asleep, dressed in the illusion of truth? In this revelation, Thoth rips the mask off the false awakening that has ruled humanity for centuries. You will see what no book, no guru, no meditation ever dared to show you: the real architecture of consciousness stripped bare. Watch until the very end, because once you see what Thoth reveals, the illusion can never own you again. They told you awakening was peace, that it was light, stillness, and bliss. They told you it was about becoming positive, forgiving everything, smiling through pain, and pretending your mind was silent. But that is a lie. The real awakening burns. It destroys every false identity you ever built. It strips away every illusion you ever worshipped. The awakening Thoth spoke of is not for the fragile or the naive. It's for those who dare to dissolve everything they think they are. Because what you call awakening is still sleep. Write this now in the comments. I am ready to see what cannot be unseen. If you feel this message piercing through your chest, join the Thoth channel now. Enter the circle of those who remember who they truly are. Only the brave can walk this path. You were taught that awakening is about becoming something new. Thoth teaches the opposite. It's about unbecoming everything that is not real. You won't find yourself by adding light to your life. You'll find it by removing every false light that blinds you. The false light is comfort, approval, the need to belong. The real light burns through you until nothing remains but truth itself. The modern world turned spiritual awakening into a decoration, a new identity to post online. But Thoth never spoke of comfort, he spoke of transmutation. He said, only the purified can read the language of the gods. Purification means friction. It means your mind will scream, your beliefs will collapse, and your emotions will rise like storms. Because the moment your soul starts remembering, your ego starts dying. Most people don't awaken. They accessorize their sleep. They collect crystals, quotes, and mantras, but never question who is the one collecting them. Thoth would call this the golden trap, the illusion of progress that keeps you chained. He taught that real wisdom comes when the collector disappears and only awareness remains. Until then, you are still the dreamer, not the awakened. Awakening is not an escape from darkness. It's entering it consciously. It's sitting with your own shadow until it reveals your power. The ancient temples of Thoth were not places of comfort. They were places of death and rebirth. Every initiate had to face the chaos inside before touching divine order. That chaos is not evil. It's the womb of your higher consciousness. You've been told to chase high vibration and avoid anything that feels dense. But Thoth revealed that density is the door to expansion. If you run from the heaviness within, you stay trapped in the shallow surface of light. Real awakening happens when you bring light into the depths, not when you run from them. You don't ascend by escaping matter. You ascend by mastering it. When you truly awaken, your desires shift. What used to attract you starts to disgust you. What used to scare you starts to call you, because your frequency is rearranging itself. You begin to see through human drama like smoke. It no longer hooks you. That's why Thoth said, the one who remembers has no enemy, because when you remember who you are, there's nothing left to fight. Awakening is not a reward for the good, it's the demolition of the false. You will feel like you're losing everything, but in truth, it's everything that was never you being stripped away. Thoth described it as the sacred fire of transformation. You either resist it and suffer, or surrender and burn clean. The pain you feel is your old self leaving your system. People think awakening is learning new truths. It's actually forgetting false ones. You don't need to add more knowledge. You need to remove everything you think you know. Thoth called this the unlearning of man. When you stop worshiping information, real wisdom finds you. Wisdom is silence that speaks. It's the space between thoughts. It's what remains when your mind stops performing. You are not waking up into comfort. You are waking up into responsibility, Because once you see truth, you can't pretend you didn't. You can't blame others, governments, or gods. You realize you were the architect of your own sleep. That's why most people resist awakening. It demands total ownership of reality. The awakened one can't hide anymore. Thoth's path is not about belief, it's about direct knowing. Belief is fragile. It needs agreement. Knowing is indestructible. It stands alone. When you truly awaken, you stop trying to convince others because you realize they are also you, still dreaming. You stop fighting shadows and start guiding light. You stop asking for signs and become one. The ego fears awakening because awakening ends the ego. It tries to spiritualize itself, saying, "Look, I am awakened." But Thoth laughs, because the moment you say, "I am awakened," it's the ego speaking. The true awakening has no witness left to claim it. The one who awakens disappears into pure awareness. That is why few complete the journey. They want enlightenment without death. You think you're awakening when you start to understand spiritual concepts, but understanding is still mind. Awakening begins when understanding collapses, when logic fails and silence becomes your teacher. Thoth called it the return to the original language, the vibration before words. That vibration is your soul remembering its source. You were never meant to find the light. You are the light trying to remember itself through the density of form. That's the paradox. You are both the seeker and the sought, the question and the answer. Awakening is when the seeker disappears, and only seeking remains, a constant unfolding. Thoth said, "The one who arrives has stopped evolving." So never arrive, always become. Real awakening makes you humble. You stop thinking you're above anyone. You start seeing the divine in everyone, even those still asleep. Because you understand, you were them yesterday. The awakened don't preach. They radiate. Their presence alone shifts timelines. They are living temples of memory. Thoth's true disciples are not louder, they are clearer. When the illusion of awakening collapses, real awakening begins. You stop trying to be spiritual. You start being honest. You face your addictions, your fears, your contradictions. You see how the system programmed you to mistake comfort for peace. You learn that peace is not the absence of conflict, but the mastery of it. Thoth never said, "Escape the world." He said, "Transmute it." If you're hearing these words, it's not by accident. Something ancient inside you is responding. Maybe you've felt that strange pull lately, the sense that nothing makes sense anymore. That's not confusion. That's the old reality dying. Your soul is knocking. The same current that whispered through the temples of Egypt is whispering to you now. Don't believe me. Feel it. If your chest feels tight, if your heart beats faster, it's because the old self is trembling. It knows the end is near, but don't fear the end. Every end is a door. Thoth's wisdom always leads to more doors, never walls. And if you are still here, still listening, it means one thing. You are being called to remember. The greatest illusion about awakening is that it's something you reach. You imagine a final point, a climax where suffering ends and clarity reigns forever. But Thoth revealed there is no end to awakening because consciousness itself has no edge. What you call arrival is just another layer of sleep disguised as peace. Every time you think you've reached the summit, a higher mountain appears behind the clouds. Awakening is not the climb. It's the wind that erases the footprints. The first thing that dissolves in real awakening is your need to feel awakened. That constant urge to check whether you're there is the ego hiding behind spirituality. It wants a badge of enlightenment to prove its existence. Thoth taught that the moment you stop needing proof, you begin to merge with truth. Because truth doesn't announce itself, it devours quietly. It doesn't say, "I am light." It simply shines. You've been conditioned to think awakening is about light overcoming darkness. But Thoth reversed this law. Darkness is the mother of light. Every photon is born from the void. Every revelation grows from confusion. If you reject your darkness, you reject the womb that births your transformation. Real awakening doesn't destroy your shadow. It teaches you to see God inside it. Humanity keeps searching for enlightenment as if it were an object outside themselves. But you cannot seek what you already are. The act of searching pushes it away. Thoth's initiates learned the art of inversion, stop seeking, and start dissolving. The more you let go, the more truth finds you. It's not about adding light, but removing noise. The universe doesn't want your obedience. It wants your remembrance. You were not created to worship light. You were created to become it consciously. The temples of Thoth taught that the gods are not outside you. They are dormant memories waiting to be decoded. Every time you silence your mind, a fragment of your divinity wakes up. That's why silence terrifies the ego. It knows silence is its executioner. You cannot awaken while defending your beliefs. Beliefs are the furniture of the mind, and awakening burns the house. Every belief is a wall, and Thoth's wisdom smashes walls to reveal infinite space. When you defend what you think you know, you block what your soul is trying to remember. The only true intelligence is the courage to unlearn. Most people think awakening gives them control. In truth, it removes control entirely. The self that wants to control reality is the same self that created your suffering. Real awakening is surrender so total that even surrender disappears. You stop choosing between good and bad because you realize both are mirrors of the same essence. When duality collapses, only clarity remains. You are not a being who experiences awakening. You are awakening itself, pretending to be a being. This is why every time you try to practice it, you fail. You cannot practice what you already are. What Thoth taught was not a method, it was a remembrance. The more you practice trying to awaken, the more you reinforce the illusion that you are not. Most think awakening expands perception outward, but Thoth revealed the opposite. It collapses the illusion of outward. You stop seeing separation. The bird, the sky, your breath. They're one continuum. The moment you stop naming things, you feel them as extensions of your own awareness. The ancient initiates called this becoming transparent. You disappear, yet everything shines through you. Awakening doesn't make you calm, it makes you real. Sometimes realness is chaotic. You'll shake, cry, rage. That's not regression, it's purification. The soul can't wear masks anymore, so it purges everything false. The system taught you to fear that intensity, to medicate it, to suppress it. But Thoth students knew that chaos is not disorder. It's the reordering of energy into divine precision. You keep waiting for the universe to give you sign. But signs were never external. They are your resonance talking back to you. The universe doesn't test you. It mirrors you. Every person who triggers you, every event that breaks you, is a holographic teacher. The faster you understand the message, the faster the mirror changes. Thoth said, "Reality bends to those who stop blaming." You think awakening makes you special. It doesn't. It makes you nobody. And in that nothingness, everything flows through you. The need to be special is the last illusion to die. Because if you are still someone, you are still separate. Thoth called this the final veil, the addiction to identity. When it falls, what's left is awareness without name, eternal and still. People chase awakening like a possession. But Thoth warned, if you seek enlightenment for power, you will only find emptiness. The path demands nakedness. You must arrive with nothing, no pride, no goal, no image. Only then can the divine frequency resonate through you. The moment you try to use awakening, it escapes. It cannot be owned, only embodied. You believe awakening is something grand, but it often begins in the smallest acts. The breath you actually feel, the silence between thoughts, the space between two heartbeats. Thoth's adepts knew that truth hides in simplicity. Complexity is the camouflage of the unreal. Every sacred symbol, every ritual points back to the same place, the now that you overlook. The real awakening makes you more human, not less. It doesn't separate you from the world. It makes you love it fiercely. You stop running from pain because you see it as part of the divine symphony. Compassion blooms not as a virtue, but as recognition. Everything is you in another form. The awakened don't escape suffering. They transform it into light through understanding. You will know you are awakening not when you feel powerful, but when you start dissolving into everything you touch, when your boundaries blur, when your reactions slow, when you see the sacred in what once annoyed you. This is the merging Thoth spoke of, the alchemy of opposites. It's not magic. It's the natural rhythm of remembrance. To awaken is to stop bargaining with life. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start whispering, "What is this revealing to me?" That shift is the real revolution. You realize life never punished you. It trained you. Every delay was divine timing. Every loss was an initiation. Thoth said, "The gods hide in adversity, waiting to be recognized." Many fear awakening because they think it will erase their individuality. But what actually dissolves is the illusion of isolation. You still act, speak, love, but you do so as the whole, not as a fragment. You become the ocean, still playing as a wave. The ego calls it loss. The soul calls it liberation. You no longer exist as someone. You exist as everything. When the false awakening dies, something unexplainable happens. You stop searching for meaning, yet everything becomes meaningful. You no longer need life to give you purpose. Your very existence is the purpose. Thoth called this the sacred simplicity, where every breath becomes a scripture. Every silence becomes a revelation. You used to think wisdom was something to be earned. But when the illusion breaks, you see it was never missing. It was only buried beneath noise, pretending to be knowledge. Real awakening doesn't elevate you above humanity. It roots you deeper into it. You stop seeing yourself as a being trying to transcend the world and start realizing you are the world looking at itself. Every person who crosses your path becomes a version of you, playing another role in the same story. This understanding doesn't make you detached. It makes you infinitely compassionate, because how can you harm what is you? People talk about vibrating higher, but Thoth's truth is far more radical. Vibration isn't about height. It's about coherence. The universe doesn't care how high you vibrate, only how true you vibrate. You can chant sacred words all day, but if your inner frequency is divided, you're still asleep. Awakening aligns you with truth so deeply that lies simply can't survive in your field. It's not effort, it's inevitability. You imagine awakening as clarity, but Thoth revealed it first appears as confusion, because confusion is the death of certainty, and certainty is the cage of the mind. The moment your conclusions die, you become teachable. The mind hates that. It wants definitions, boundaries, control. But the soul knows that truth only blooms in the unknown. That's why real awakening feels like losing your mind, because you are. Most people want awakening without exposure. They want transformation without transparency. But Thoth warned, you cannot hide and awaken at the same time. The light you seek will reveal everything you're still protecting. That's why it feels brutal. It exposes not only your wounds, but your attachments to them. The healing begins the moment you stop defending your illusions. The spiritual path doesn't free you from pain, it refines your relationship with it. Before awakening, pain was punishment. After awakening, pain becomes instruction. You begin to see suffering as a sacred language through which the divine whispers. Thoth said, "Pain is the sculptor of gods. Every moment you endure consciously is carving the shape of your divinity into form." You've been told that awakening is about detachment, but Thoth's disciples learned the opposite. It's about full presence. Detachment can become another mask for fear. Presence requires courage, to feel everything without escape, to stand naked before your own creation. The awakened one doesn't flee emotion. They melt into it until emotion transforms into awareness. That's alchemy in motion. Real awakening doesn't give you answers. It erases the questions. Because when you finally touch truth, the need to define it dissolves. Words fall short, doctrines crumble. You stop trying to understand with the mind and start perceiving with the soul. The mind analyzes, the soul recognizes. Awakening is not comprehension, it's remembrance. You think awakening happens once, but Thoth revealed it happens endlessly. Every breath is another birth. Every realization is another death. The awakened live in a constant state of dying into truth and being reborn as awareness. They don't cling to insights. They let them vanish, because clinging to enlightenment is the fastest way to lose it. Thoth taught that awakening begins not in meditation, but in honesty. Sit with yourself and tell the truth you've avoided for years. That moment, raw and unfiltered, is your initiation. You don't need temples or rituals. Your heart is the temple, and your willingness is the ritual. When you stop lying to yourself, reality stops lying back. You think enlightenment is light, but sometimes it's darkness teaching you how to see. Thoth said that divine sight is not about brightness, it's about depth. The more you see, the more shadows you encounter. The point is not to escape them, but to walk through them with eyes open. Light is not the absence of darkness, it's the mastery of it. The world told you to visualize your future. Thoth taught to remember your origin. Because the highest truth isn't ahead, it's beneath. The seeker runs outward, the initiate descends inward. Every descent into your depths is an ascent in disguise. The underworld of the self is not a punishment, it's a passageway back to God. You can't awaken while wishing to return to who you were. That self was built to survive in illusion. Awakening isn't self-improvement, it's self-erasure. The one you thought you were must dissolve so the one you truly are can appear. You lose interest in fixing yourself because you realize you were never broken, only misidentified. Many claim they want truth, but few are ready for its weight. Truth doesn't comfort, it dismantles. It doesn't stroke your ego, it burns it alive. That's why awakening feels lonely at first. The illusions that once comforted you vanish. But Thoth said, the loneliness of truth is sacred, for it is the space where the infinite finally meets itself without distraction. The false awakening loves attention. It posts quotes, sells light, collects followers. But real awakening hides. It moves in silence. It disappears from the stage. Because the truly awakened don't need validation. They are validation. They don't seek to teach. Their existence becomes the teaching. Presence replaces preaching. To awaken is to stop trying to fix the world and start embodying the frequency that heals it. The system thrives on your resistance, because resistance feeds polarity. But when you hold awareness without reaction, you unplug from its game. Thoth's initiates were not activists. They were alchemists, shifting the grid by shifting themselves. Awakening doesn't give you control over reality. It gives you alignment with its flow. The river doesn't need to control the ocean. It simply merges with it. You stop manipulating outcomes and start trusting timing. You see that every delay was divine design, every detour sacred direction. Synchronicity becomes your language, not your superstition. There is a stage of awakening where even the idea of awakening disappears. You no longer measure progress. You stop needing experiences to validate your evolution. You live so presently that progress loses meaning. Thoth called this the Great Quiet. It's the silence beyond enlightenment, where existence simply watches itself exist. When you realize that the path you've been walking was never meant to lead anywhere, only to dissolve the one who walks, something irreversible awakens. The mind that demanded meaning begins to crumble under the weight of its own illusions. What remains is not silence, but the sound before sound, the echo of the divine remembering itself through you. That moment isn't an ending, it's an ignition, the beginning of perception beyond perception. If this revelation stirred something ancient within, subscribe as one who answers a silent call, not to follow, but to remember. Each new video is another portal within the same temple.